training, and so on and so forth that you've actually been doing for years. You know, but pre-George Floyd, I mean, you're kind of ahead of the curve after that whole DOJ mediation. But the whole DOJ mediation and bring us up, bring us up to today.
Yeah.
I think, because you're part of that. We're only two cities, Waukegan, I guess, and North Chicago is only two cities in this entire county that has even partook in something like that. Voluntarily, basically, 4 years ago after Ferguson, Missouri. I think that was the thing that sort of sparked us to say, we got body cameras for the police officers. There was a first in the country here. And then as a result of that, we rolled into let's bring the Department of Justice in, compare best practices. You representing the entire county, looking at mental illness, those programs, racial equity, equality, all of that, that was a huge piece of the mediation.
Well, I think bringing in the Department of Justice, rather than wait for them to come in, bring them in and ask them to come do this mediation and then to be a part of it. The whole process I thought was really healthy because you had all those different groups represented. We met pretty regularly, and then most importantly, I think a lot of change was instituted because of that. Now, it certainly didn't solve the problem because we're still dealing with some of these issues, but it was a great start, and I think it says a lot about the Waukegan Police Chief and the leadership there that they wanted to, again, get ahead of this and call in DOJ to be a part of that. Body cameras was a huge piece of this. Now, Waukegan's only one of a handful of departments in Lake County that have body cameras. Ideally, they all would, and that becomes a funding issue, but helping them do that and then support not just the cost of the cameras, but as you know, it's the data storage and all those other costs, and then the personnel costs of reviewing all that video, both on the police side and the prosecution side. But that was I think a great thing that we did as part of that that initiative.
And I agree. As we look back at it, what we're faced with today as a nation, actually as a world, as it relates to just procedural justice, legitimacy, people's trust in the criminal justice system. We were 4 or 5 years ahead of that with our voluntary mediation, I believe, with the DOJ. And plus, one of the things you brought to light from a Lake County perspective that we have not thought about is the impact of mental illness and the resources there for not only your folks, but police departments throughout the county. I think that was something that was missing. That was a blind spot for a lot of people. Some people got it, that some of the people locked up. It's not so much of the criminal element, but it's the mental illness that probably led to them being incarcerated. And that was one of the big things that you put forward that the DOJ grabbed hold of that right away. But for a lot of us, we're like, wow, I hadn't thought about that aspect of it. So all of your work and much more with DOJ mediation, 8 months long, you come out of there with training protocols, use of force, revisions, diversity, inclusion training, which again, your entire team, 100 or so attorneys, staff members, as a result of that, we've gone through managing diversity and inclusion, cynicism, implicit bias, and had some rich discussions there, and eye-opening events, I think, on both sides. We learned just a ton from your group, and I hope that they learned a ton from us. And from a legitimacy perspective, as it relates to the community, Lake County at large, I believe it goes a long way when citizens know that you've taken your entire team, shut down, and had the whole day to go over there, to go through this training, so that when they walk these halls, they at least know if the person doesn't look like them, the person is still probably culturally competent and sensitive to those who are different.